Well, I think simplicity is very popular these days in US politics, and this is a very simplistic notion. Drugs are cheap in Canada, so let's buy them in the US, rather than addressing their domestic problem, which is a lack of drug price controls.
Bigger question now is there's a lot of legislation that's happening in the states at the state level and federally. I think at the last count there was more than 20 pieces of legislation that actually would allow more wholesale importation or online importation for personal use for Americans. And our concern, has been that Canada has a lot of issues with our drug supply as it is in terms of, the availability. There's a lot of shortages, and so having a population that's 10 times our size, kind of looking to have access to Canadian medications, could put some pressure on our existing supply.
Our nation of 38 million people does not have the pharmaceutical supply for your 329 million citizens. We are already experiencing drug shortages. We could give you all of our medicines, and we would suffer and we would die prematurely. And if we did that, there would still be no benefit for 8 out of every 9 of your constituents. The numbers don't work.
Canada simply does not have enough legitimate prescription drugs to supply the United States. Canada is 1/9 the size of America, and our drug supply is designed to supply our domestic population. Yet we already experience drug shortages in the area of about 1,900 prescription drugs. The imbalance of our genuine supply and the demand created by importation will create a lucrative market ideal for criminals to step in and fill the gap by transshipping adulterated, substandard, and counterfeit drugs to Michigan, sourced from anywhere but Canada.
This is about safety. We don't want people bringing in unsafe drugs. And if you go back in history, there's a history of Canadian online pharmacies selling drugs, counterfeit drugs.
I have over 30 years law enforcement and border patrol experience in Canada as a senior executive with the Ontario Provincial Police and the Canada Border Service Agency. Legalizing prescription drug importation from Canada appears to be a simple solution to high drug costs, but it cannot be implemented safely. It creates a loophole that smugglers will exploit to traffic fake drugs into your state, by pretending that pharmaceuticals are safe and Canadian.
We recognize the new situation brought on by American announcements, and Health Canada will continue to ensure that our priority is always ensuring that Canadians have access to the medication they need at affordable prices. That is what we will continue to do.